All right, folks, if you're running AI agents, I'm pretty sure most of you guys are happy with its performance for the first 2 weeks. But then after that, it just doesn't feel the same anymore. I think you notice that there's some regression going on. And that's not a problem. The problem is the observability. You just have no idea what went wrong. And that is a big theme this week. We're going to be looking at 6 key stories that have unfolded that are attempting to address this problem. Basically, the question is, we know that these agents are capable, but what makes them reliable over the long run? So let's dive in. All right, so let's start off with one of the most frequent problems I'm sure most of us have experienced, which is the agent failing silently, even with tools that help them overcome that, like /goal, right? So this is a very interesting case here. Swix, one of the AI OGs, was using GPT 5.6 Soul with /goal to complete a 5-stage task, only to find out a few hours later it was still stuck on stage 0. And apparently the agent was committing stage 0 is the target, don't do anything else. I'm pretty sure this was the initial commit. So the agent just followed the instruction anyways because it was using /goal. But moreover, the agents.md would not let it proceed. So this is an interesting case because it pointed out here that that stale agents.md or outdated agents.md can act like self-inflicted prompt injection. So for context, agents.md is the instruction file that tells your agent what it's supposed to do inside a code base. It defines the rules, the constraints, and the goals. But when that file gets outdated, your agent would be following bad instructions or even referencing files that never existed. And if you pair that with /goal, the whole point of that is to persist the task, right? To complete the objective. It would just say, sir, yes, sir. It would look busy, but nothing productive gets done. So this is a problem that the big boys will have to tackle. The big AI engineers will have to tackle. Right now, as users, the best practices is to, of course, update your agents.md manually. I know it is a hassle. And you might say, hey, Ron, why aren't you building loops to auto-update your agents.md? That is because if you do something like that, then you're not going to know exactly what gets updated if you tell your agent to update every hour, right? Observability is still a big issue. You see here, Swix had to take a while to read the transcript to realize that the agent had caused this problem. So the industry leaders are, of course, recognizing that that's the problem, the communication between users and agents, right? So what LangChain did here is pretty cool. They added tracing for Codex, which means you can now inspect the full chain of execution. So Codex this week has been popping off ever since the release of GPT 5.6 Soul, and of course the banter between Anthropic and OpenAI here on X. So what's happening here is that once agents are multi-step, the debugging process is as important as prompting. And in a single chat prompt, you see the input and output immediately. But agents might call 5 tools, spin up sub-agents, and make 10 intermediate decisions before you ever see a result, right? And if something breaks in the middle, you have no idea whether the plan was wrong or was it the tool or did the model just get confused, right? So you need to see which tool was called, which step failed, and those are the harder parts to see, and whether the issue was planning or execution and not just the final answer, right? So the whole chain dot tracing gives you that audit trail. It turns the agent from a black box into something you actually debug, which matters a lot if you're running these systems on real work instead of demos. So if you want to try it out, LangChain has a plugin for that to use in the Codex session. And they also expanded tracing to Cursor, Copilot, Pi, and OpenCode. Of course, there would be a bit of manual work if you're going to be debugging the process, but still, this is the big key, is you get to see the full run tree. And what you have to do, I guess, is just copy and then paste that back to your agent. Because, when you're prompting, hey, what went wrong here? They're just going to be very broad. But if you show them a concrete evidence of what went wrong, then they're going to be like, oh, you are right. Now, let's also talk about harnesses, what they're doing to improve this user agent experience. So very recently, Hermes Agent shipped updates to parallelize any subset of tool calls. And this matters a lot because most agents call tools one by one in a loop. They would check this, and then they would check that, and then they would take action. So it is simple, but it is very, very slow. And if you have 3 independent checks that do not depend on each other, then running them sequentially wastes a lot of time. And parallelizing means the harness can fire off multiple calls at once, gather the results, and then move forward. So this changes how work actually gets done, especially for Hermes Agent, which is not very good for coding, but very good for research. Same model, better structure. The agent feels faster and more stable because the harness is smarter, not because the weights change. Actually, maybe even with this change, it could be, I wouldn't say significantly, but like slightly or marginally better for actual coding tasks. Hermes also exposed bank resets directly in the agent. So a bank reset is essentially a checkpoint. If you don't have access to a visualization tool for Git, like Gitkraken that we use, like this one that we have, if we mess anything up in the latest commits, we can always revert back to one of the checkpoints that we really liked. So now if your Hermes agent is running a long task and hits an error, you don't need to throw out everything anymore and start over. A reset mechanism here lets your agent back up to a known good state and then retry from there instead of restarting the entire workflow. So if you're aggressively using Hermes Agent, make the habit of using /usage, but you do need a Codex or OpenAI subscription to use this one. So all in all, Andy Konwinski here framed the key takeaway is that the companies that encode value into evals and environments will build a more durable edge than those betting on raw scale or capital alone. Because by now, benchmarks and evals, these are tests that tell your agent if they're actually doing the right thing. But can this be applicable to practical, real use cases, and not just for the first 2 weeks, but like for months, for years, right? The environments, they're the setup, the tooling, and the interfaces that shape how the agents interacts with the world. Both are hard to replicate because they encode specific workflows and domain knowledge, but the advantage is moving from the model to the system around it. Anyone can buy API access to a strong model, but not everyone can build a harness that keeps the agent on track, recovers from failure, and measures whether results are actually good, right? So I'm feeling that the next phase of agents is not just about capability, but it is also about control. And I feel like that this space has overlooked humans out of the equation. Everyone is very hyped about the prompts, the loops, but no one is hyped about the actual debugging process and the maintenance work. So that should be the next hyped topic, and I hope that you know about this from this video. So if you find this video helpful, smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel. My name is Ron. Shana now.